Join me today in some tentacruel action in Ultra League because we're gonna use an ABB team style utilizing tentacruel as our closer. But for this first battle we're gonna use it as a very good counter switch to that Poliwrath because as it seems tentacruel has so much play against the entire meta because of its ability to resist pretty much anything your opponent is gonna throw at you, and of course at the same time you got some really nice moves to throw in return. So here comes now a Scald from my point of view to theirs, and to be fair you do not even need a Sludge Wave or Acid Spray on your Tentacruel. Just go ahead, use your Blizzard and you're gonna be just fine against the Flyers or even the Dragon type, something like a Giratina for example. So over here now they return the battle with Otarorus and we're just gonna go for another Scald before we faint to those Powder Snows. This means that we can apply even more pressure with Tentacruel, which is the absolute MVP of this team. But the battle is definitely not over yet, especially when they have Shadow Galate coming into the battle. So they can charge up so much in this incident, but I'm not gonna fall for it. I'm just gonna use my final shield for that Poliwrath, and as it seems my opponent here cannot even knock me out with that close combat. This is pretty awesome for my Steelix with its high defense, but now all that remains is to completely farm down with our moves. Meteor Beam will not deal a lot of damage but still can be kinda tricky, so I decide to go for the Icy Wind to debuff my opponent and still farm down in the process. Into the next battle now with a Guzzlord up in front. This is obviously kind of a good lead for us, but on the switch we're meeting up with a Feraligatr. Once again we perfectly counter them down with our Tentacruel, and this is how good Tentacruel can be on a battle that you win the lead scenario. So Hydro Cannon here can be absolutely resisted, which means that not only we can guarantee here the knockout in combination with a few poison jabs, but also we can have the advantage on that Steelix over Guzzlord. But of course to achieve that we need to sacrifice a shield in the process, but hopefully here we can go for the extra farm and perhaps our opponent will fall for the bait, but this is not gonna happen at all. Perhaps they were counting, perhaps they knew that I was not gonna go for the Blizzard anyways. So here comes now the next Pokemon, which is a Poliwrath once again. This is kinda bad for me right now because this Pokemon can do so much work on my Steelix, and of course back at my own Poliwrath it might actually have the upper hand with those moves. However, as it seems here we can debuff this one so much at a point that then we can come into the battle with our own Poliwrath, and after all those debuffs we can stand victorious by completely farming down. Just remember that Guzzlord is still around, able to come into the battle effectively to clear that debuff, but in the process it is just gonna get destroyed down by my moves. So counter here is gonna destroy down Guzzlord, and of course we're gonna just do the same thing on the Poliwrath, which is the final Pokemon of theirs. Into the next battle now with a very bad lead, perhaps one of the worst that you can get against your Steelix, but at the same time we got a pretty rewarding backline. However, Disarming Voice here is still gonna connect for a lot of damage on my fighting type Pokemon, but Scald is just gonna dominate the HP levels of Skeletons. Now with that Feraligatr coming in, perhaps we can have the upper hand with the debuffs, and as it seems we do. They are already below 50% and at a point that my Tentacruel can easily farm down by tanking those moves that they have to throw, and at the same time we can get out of here with a ton of energy stored up. You can already tell that those Hydro Cannons barely even tickle our Tentacles, so we're just gonna farm down with our Poison Jabs. With that Pokemon out of the way, Grident is the only one that remains for us as an obstacle to get this victory, and of course we got a very debuffing team for that one, especially when they cannot clear the debuffs, because after that Skeletor goes down, I'm just gonna go all in with my debuffing moves. Of course I cannot apply any debuff as it seems, but at the same time they have nothing to throw at me, so they will back out eventually, and I really thank them for that. Skeledirge once again up in front, a very bad lead for us. Just gonna go for one Dragon Tail and then switch out to my Poliwrath. Doing so, we managed to get out of their backline. this a fairy type weird looking factory Pokemon, so Weezing here is gonna get to the play rough. I was not expecting the move, but at the same time I was not expecting the move, because anyone using a Weezing can use any move that they think it is gonna be better for them, so obviously I'm just gonna get a lot of damage from the play rough. Now with Skeletons coming into the battle, once again all I have to do is to get my hands on those skulls, and now they have the return of Nidoqueen. So my Dragon Tails here can be absolutely clutch, but one Earth Power might actually do so much damage on my end. So what we want to do at this point is to not block anything, because we know that even after the Earth Power they do not have a lot of options up against me with those poison moves, and they basically need one more Earth Power if they want to be successful. So at this point they end up going for the Poison Fang, I guess for the bait, but it really doesn't make any difference at all, because I'm just gonna rely a lot on my Tentacruel for the end game, having the shield advantage for sure, knowing for a fact that these Skeletons can only threaten me with that Shadow Ball, so they always need 3 Incinerates, but over here I throw at the worst timing ever, because they still pass through a whole Incinerate worth of energy, and in doing so they manage to get to that Shadow Ball and of course grab one shield of mine out of play, and in the process deal a lot of damage. So at this point all I want to do is to go ahead and farm down in the process with my Tentacruel, and we can absolutely do it since they have nothing else to throw. Another Nidoqueen up in front, and this time they switch out to Colisopod. You know what, Breaking Swipe here is gonna be kinda good for us, because we can go ahead and try to debuff this Pokemon. However, Liquidation is gonna connect for super effective damage. So to avoid that, I decide to bring my Tentacruel once again as my early closer on this battle, so Liquidation or RLAs will not deal a lot of damage. Also, we managed to throw here at the CMP, which is not the best choice ever, so I guess I'm just gonna get to the Nice, because I know they can survive it, and farm a little bit extra before something weird else happens into this one. So Scald now able to deal so much damage on that Shadow Nidoqueen that we also apply the debuff, which is pretty great for me, and we also have another water type at the back as known as Poliwrath to destroy down the remaining HP that this Nidoqueen might be having. So in reality, up against those ground types we got ton of coverage. Now with Greninja remaining at the very end, I guess that my Poliwrath is gonna turn from an amazing safe switch into the perfect closer for my team. But first I want to come into the battle with my Tentacruel to make them drop the remaining energy that they have farmed up. So now I can easily come into the battle with my Poliwrath, pretty much tank whatever they throw, and we can absolutely destroy them down with our moves. So at this point I'm just gonna take whatever they throw. I'm just gonna flex my 2 shields, and I knew this was gonna be just a Poison Fang, so in the process we managed to make them top left this battle while we're flexing our 2 shields remaining into the game. Into the next battle now with a Shadow Drapion up in front. This Pokemon can always be a real pain for our team because of how spammy it can be, but at the same time it is something that we can totally play around with our team. Now on the Switch we're meeting up with that amazing Rumble, and to be fair I was hoping I could get here to another Ice Wind, but this is not the issue at all. So we end up getting now into the battle with our primary shiny closer, and I want to farm down before they reach to another charge attack. So now at the very end they have the Ampharos, so obviously this might be looking kinda good for us now, knowing that if we can catch the move here on the Steelix, now this Ampharos can be energy dry. So with that in mind now they return to the battle with that Drapion, and I know that if we can survive the following crunch, we can easily survive the following poison stings as well, which means that we can use those final seals for the very end game and that Ampharos. So to do that we need to successfully farm down with our Tentacruel. Here comes now the Scald, and before something weird happens I guess we can reach to another Scald before they get to back moves. Or or am I doing something wrong here? Because as it seems we cannot do it. Oh, we can. For some reason I was so messed up in my mind. I thought we were gonna lose this one for real, having 2 shields remaining. I totally forgot about the outcome of this one. So anyways, into the final one now, with the Pidgeot up in front, gonna throw here the breaking swipe. They are gonna take it, and to be fair, this is a pretty smart choice because now they have some energy stored up on the Pidgeot. They clear the debuff on that switch out to the Feraligatr, and I guess now that my Poliwrath can have the upper hand with the counters. So here comes now another move. Of course we can survive it and still guarantee the complete farm down before something weird happens. When they throw a Pokemon right when I faint them down is something like a visual glitch, I guess, so in reality nothing real happens, right? So here comes now Annihilape into the battle. They managed to catch my Icy Wind, but at the same time I know that by catching that move means that they are switch locked in here with my Tentacruel, and we can pretty much survive whatever they throw. Having now my Steelix over that Pidgeot is what will close this battle as it seems, because Annihilape here might be able to resist my poison jabs, but at the same time they cannot finish me down right on time because we can easily farm them down, in return have access to Blizzard, and of course this move will knock them out, so they have to block. At this point I'm just gonna return into the game with my Steelix. We can spam those breaking swipes, and of course we're already there to a couple, so we can absolutely grab this final victory for this video. Thank you for watching, for sticking around till the end with me. It really means a lot for my channel. But before you go, leave a huge like, subscribe to my content if you are new to my stuff here on YouTube, and with that said, I have 2 more videos for you to check out. Feel free to check them out, and I will catch you up later into the next one.